Grace and peace, grace and peace. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you guys doing this evening? All right, listen, thank you guys for showing up. We have a pretty interesting story coming tonight on Alton Prime. So listen, for the next maybe 30 minutes to an hour, y'all have the privilege of listening to my annoying nasally voice. All right. So congratulations to you guys. You guys made it. All right, but yes, as you guys come in, go ahead, hit that like button. All right, so let's see who we got up in the house. We have Sister Elizabeth. She says, "What is a drag show for kids? What in the world? This has to be a joke." No, sis, I have covered this for the past 2 to 3 years on this channel. That there have been some drag shows going on in various states, especially in my hometown, Fort Lauderdale. Actually, not too far from where I used to live. So I covered that one time before as well. Grace and peace, Stevie. Grace and peace, Big Yehuda. Grace and peace. And then we got my sister Sheila Mahone up in the chat. Thank you, sis. Thank you, sis, for continuing to be a supporter of the channel. Thank you, sis. Thank you, sis. I really, really appreciate you. Of all of the people here. All right. Sheila Mahone says it should be banned, period. All right. So we got Daniel up in the house. Daniel says if only all questions were as easy to answer. Yeah, because right now, as we get ready to get into this right now, I want you guys to go ahead and check out that live poll that we got in the chat right now, where I'm asking, should drag shows for children be banned? And so far, it is a unanimous decision across the board, where all 100% of you guys say yes, it should only be for adults, and no one has said it. No, it's just harmless fun. No one has said, I'm sorry, maybe some, not all, and none of you say that I don't know enough about them. Maybe the spirit movie tonight. Something about prime time. Everybody be on cold up in here. All right. Now, remember, wherever you guys are watching from, whether it's Rumble, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, go ahead and hit that like button and support. All right. Let me see. What Sheila say? She says, come on, Alton, we can't be here all night. Oh, man. See, you make it hard for me, Sheila. But that's all right. I'm learning to endure. All right. To the one who endures to the end. That's the one. That's the one that who the Lord is looking for. Big Yehuda says, you should make a meme video like you did as Pharaoh, but be a Cecilia Mafia. I don't know about that. Actually, I got something in the making. Me and the Boo gonna be working on some stuff. So I gotta hit them up in a little bit. Been so busy. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. Grace of Peace, Atlanta says 82. I'm trying to make sure that I got everybody. Don't worry about the music. The music here to stay. The music ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna go ahead and give a hand clap for that too. Music ain't going nowhere, Sister Sheila. All right, ain't going no. Grace and peace, RJC. Grace and peace. Grace and peace. All right, let's do this. Now, this article is from ChristianNews.com. ChristianNews.com. And I came across this last night. I was, scrolling through. Came across this article. Tennessee law banning children from drag shows upheld by appeals court. All right, there we go. Grace and peace, Terrence Jones. Grace and peace. Go ahead and give him one of those and one of that. She says that the music is too loud. No, it ain't. It ain't too loud, sis. You gotta turn your volume down, sis. Because I went back when you said that the music was too loud the other night. It wasn't. It was perfect. It was the way that I said it. Because, sometimes them older ears get a little sensitive. Yeah, Terrence Jones says, no adults should be up in there either. Uh-oh, there might be some beef. Now, y'all remember, how long ago was that? Maybe about 3 weeks to a month ago. Remember we was talking about San Francisco, how they had the Pride Parade and people were walking around naked and they were committing like sexual acts on each other. And then you had a journalist who was there who was saying that, hey, the journalist went up to the cops, to the police and the authorities and said, hey, listen, I don't think that this is appropriate. You got people walking around without a stitch of clothing. The people said, the cops said, well, as long as they're not doing anything sexually explicit. So then there was an area where a lot of sexual activity was going on. And the journalist then brought it back to the police's attention and said, okay, well, listen, y'all said that as long as no sexually explicit stuff is happening, that it's okay for people to walk around with no clothes on. And the cop said, well, just kind of pick your battles. This is kind of pick your battles kind of day. And then not only were the local police there, but then you also had the ATF, which is alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. And you had the FBI. FBI was there. And nothing happened. Grace and peace, Carl McCoy. Grace and peace. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this particular article. A federal appellate court upheld the Tennessee law effectively banning children from drag shows, with an LGBT advocacy organization challenging the measure, warning that it threatens to put its case in quote-unquote limbo. All right. In an opinion published last week, a 3-judge panel on the 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals upheld Tennessee's Adult Entertainment Act. Enacted in 2023, the legislation declares that, quote, it is an offense for a person to perform adult cabaret entertainment, end quotes, at any location where the show could be, quote, viewed by a person who is not an adult, end quote. All right. And what's sad is that laws have to be enacted like this nowadays, to where people are just like, okay, man, let's just leave the kids out of it. If we want to go ahead and do some sexually explicit stuff in adult settings, let's just keep that to ourselves. Let's not even involve the children. But you got people who are just like, nope, the kids should be here. And I mean, it's just sad nowadays that people actually have to take stuff like this to court, which should be a no-brainer. And that's why when people start saying things like, man, we think that there may be an agenda happening here, people get upset and they want to call you conspiracy theorists and all of this type of things. But it's just like, how can you not think that way when you have adults doing sexually explicit stuff saying that, no, we think that the kids should be right here watching this with us. Grace and peace, Lakeisha, who is also a member of the channel. All right. Thank you for your continued support. I got quite a few of my supporters up in here today, so thank you guys. Big Yehuda said it's already illegal. They won't enforce the law. The cops aren't racist, but they are so corrupt as they follow orders from demon worshippers. In 2020, were brutal regime enforcers in all Democrat states. All right. All my Democrats, I don't know if y'all agree with Big Yehuda. Gregory, grace and peace, Gregory, grace and peace. All right, let's continue. Examples of quote-unquote adult cabaret entertainment defined in the legislation include performances featuring, quote, topless dancers, go-go dancers, exotic dancers, male or female impersonators, or similar entertainers, end quote. I think that's the problem right there. No, I think all of this is a problem for some people. A federal judge in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Tennessee put the law on hold before it was slated to take effect last year, describing it as an, quote, unconstitutional restriction on free speech under the First Amendment. Hold up. See? Wow. Okay, so they're saying that this is an unconstitutional restriction on free speech under the First Amendment. So exposing yourself as an adult to children is considered by a federal judge in the U.S. Court Districts for the Western District of Tennessee because it said it was unconstitutional. Now, hold on. I want to make sure that I'm reading this right. I got to make sure I'm reading this right. But before we do, I got to go ahead, give another horn. Listen, man, all my subscribers are up in the house today. Well, supporters of the channel. Not all my subs, my supporters. Grace and peace, Daryl Lloyd. Grace and peace. Thank you for showing up, man. Thank you for showing up to the live chat. The district court decision only applied to Shelby County, the largest county in the state, home to Memphis. The LGBT theater company Friends of Georges, identified in the Sixth Circuit opinion as, quote, an organization that aims to provide a space outside of bars and clubs where people can enjoy drag shows, end quote. Quote, performs most of its shows in Shelby County and successfully sought an opinion from a federal court preventing the enforcement of the Adult Entertainment Act there. Grace and peace, Eugene. What did Stevie say? He says, Alton, your wife was holding it down today, brother. Yeah, shout out to the wife. Go ahead and give her a hand clap. Over there on Berean TV, holding it down. Let me see. All right. Let's continue. Now, before we continue, for those who just came in, y'all go ahead and partake in that live poll that we got only on YouTube, where I'm asking a question: should drag shows be banned? I'm sorry, drag shows for children should be banned. So far, 95% of you guys say yes. No one says no, it's just harmless fun. No one says maybe some, not all. And 5% of you guys, which is someone, says I don't know enough about them. And that is pertaining to the drag shows. Now, I've done quite a few lives about this, and during those lives, I've played video clips, I've played statements where people on the LGBT side has said they are quote unquote coming for your children. So that's why when people start saying, oh, well, it's just some conspiracy thing that anti-LGBTQ people and fundamentalist Christians, they just want to find a way to hate us. And it's just like, no, but when you're making statements like we're coming for your children, and then now you're fighting hard to involve children into sexually explicit adult entertainment, that's the problem that we have. And then there was even some parents who were just like, okay, cool, just keep it out of my schools. Keep it out of my kids' schools. Keep it out of, our local libraries. But some people are just like, nope, that's not enough. We got to have the pride parade. We got to put it in your face. Then we got to bring it to your schools. Then we got to drag, your kids to the adult clubs where these drag performances are taking place. It's just like down in Fort Lauderdale, where I'm from, there was a school that was not too far from a gay bar, and they took these kids on a field trip during school hours. They took kids to a gay bar during school hours and had drag performances and stuff like that. They didn't really get too graphic into what was going on, but I just thought that it was inappropriate anyway, and that caused a lot of backlash to where a lot of local people were just like, yo, you guys are taking this way too far. Like, what school wants to take a group of kids to an adult nightclub? All right, but anyway, let's continue. Last week's decision by the Sixth Court last week's decision by the Sixth Circuit overturned the lower court's decision. Judge John Nalbandian, appointed to the bench by former President Donald Trump, authored the court's opinion. He was joined by George H.W. Bush, appointed George Edward Seiler, Judge Andre Mathis, that sounds like a black man right there, appointed to the bench by President Joe Biden, dissented. Now that's a black man. I know plenty of black people with that last name Mathis. How many of y'all know a black person named Mathis? Last name is Mathis. and he's appointed by President Joe Biden. Oh yeah. That black man said, no, we gotta have him up in there. All right, let's continue. Now, Bandian asserted that friends of George's lacked standing to challenge the Adult Enforcement Act, specifically highlighting how a witness testifying on behalf of the organization stated that its performances, quote unquote, are definitely appropriate for teenagers and touted its efforts to, quote, stick around the PG-13 area in writing, end quote, and avoiding getting, quote unquote, too risque. What the heck does that mean? That just sounds like a big word salad. Grace and peace, Azteco1. Grace and peace. It says San Francisco's Gay Men's Choir a couple of years ago dropped a video singing exactly that. Never ignore when someone shows you exactly what they are intended to do. And yeah, I do have a video. I can't remember the title of it, but it's the one for like members only. So everybody who got the little badge next to their name, they're the only ones who can watch it because they support the channel. And I brought that out. Where you had various groups running around here saying, we're coming for your children. We're here. We're queer. We're coming for your children. And when people started giving them backlash, they just say, oh, no, it's just a joke. We're just joking because a lot of you guys think that we're coming for your children. But then when they're fighting to bring your kids into drag show nightclubs and they're fighting to be doing these performances in schools where your kids go to with your taxpayer funded dollars, then you have to start thinking, okay, well, there may be some truth to that. When a person said that they coming from my children, and the next thing you know, I'm like, you're starting to pop up in our schools where our children are, or in the spaces where the children are. I don't know. That's why a lot of people are up in arms a little bit. According to Now Bandian, quote, by its own testimony, FOG has failed to show any intention to even arguably violate the AEA, end quote. Quote, FOG nonetheless claims that its productions might be seen as violating the AEA by law enforcement and thus could be prescribed, end quote, he added. Quote, a party alleging that its conduct could be prescribed by the challenge statute cannot rely on the argument that the statute might be misconstrued by law enforcement, end quote. Now, Bandian concluded, quote, that's essentially what FOG is asking for here, end quote, insisting that for several reasons, quote, FOG cannot show a pre-enforcement injury without alleging an intention to arguably violate the ADA. Eugene said, that's why my kids are in a Christian private school. Yeah, we actually we actually homeschool our kids. Yeah, we homeschool our kids. How many of you guys send your kids to public school? Type of 1 if you send your kids to public school. Type of 2 if they homeschool like mine. Type of 2 if they homeschool like mine. Quote, even if FOG alleged an intention to engage in a course of conduct arguably prescribed by the AEA, it would also need to show that this alleged intention to breach the AEA is arguably affected with a constitutional interest, end quote, the judge wrote, stressing, quote, there is no constitutional interest in exhibiting indecent material to minors, end quote. Quote, but even if we assume for the sake of argument that this supposed threat of false arrest could then amount to a threat of false persecution, fear of wrongful persecution and eviction under the AEA is inadequate to generate a case or controversy the federal courts can hear, he wrote. FOG faces no certainty. Faces no certainly impending threat of prosecution. End quote. He said, "What? Oh, okay, hold on. Let me see." Lakeisha said that her kids was homeschooled. Sheila says that her kids are out of school, done with that. All right. Yeah, we know that. We know. I think Lakeisha's around my mom's age. How old is your oldest? Look, I'm sorry. How old is your oldest, Sheila? I think your oldest is like 38, 39. Grace and peace, Gentile. Grace and peace. Yeah, Eugene says that they're trying to ban homeschool. There's been a lot of talks. There's been a lot of talks of government wanting to kind of ban homeschool. That is one of the things that Barack Obama, all right, but Barack Obama, Sheila's man, Sheila and Stevie's best president, you know. Yeah, he and Hillary Clinton, they had some pretty foul things to say about homeschool. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, it was either him or Hillary Clinton that said that if it was up to them, they would ban homeschool. I was just like, yeah, we wouldn't even allow that. We would ban that in the United States because, Germany and some of the countries over there in the UK, I don't think you can homeschool your kids. I know Germany for sure. In dissent, Mathis called the law an, quote, unconstitutional content-based restriction on speech, end quote. How was that an unconstitutional ban on speech? Again, by saying that, hey, we don't want kids to be exposed to men dressing like women and prancing around half naked. I don't know if you guys, maybe I should have. Maybe I should have pulled up some of these videos. But, Sheila said that she didn't want to be on here all night. She didn't. You need to hurry it up. So I don't know. But yeah, I was going to pull up some videos, man, of what happens at some of these drag shows. Where you got kids. They're giving these kids money. And these kids are putting money into the underwear of these drag performers. And these guys is like twerking it up and they bending over and all of this crazy stuff. There was one video that I saw where you had this guy, he was wearing nothing but like these Speedo thongs or something. And he had on, like the high leather boots, like they go up to like mid thigh, and, he's swinging around from the ceiling like some type of strap or something. He was swinging all around and his legs wide open and all of this stuff. And a lot of people was just like, yo, like, what the heck is going on here? Like what is really going on? And a lot of people were very, very upset with that. But here we are with this particular judge. He says that this is an unconstitutional content-based restriction on speech. I mean, I just don't know if people are just ignorant to what. I don't think that they're ignorant to what's going on. I really don't think that a lot of people are just that dumb to where they don't know what happens at these drag shows. Especially people who are appointed to high court positions. People who are appointed to positions in government. Sheila says that's what happens in strip clubs. Yes, it is. That's exactly what happens in strip clubs. But again, Sister Sheila, this is unconstitutional. And there's a restriction on speech. Quote, FOG did not have to wait for the state to enforce the AEA before challenging the constitutionality of the law, Mathis wrote. Quote, threats of future harm equate to injury. In fact, as long as there is a substantial risk that harm will occur. All right, so basically what this guy is saying. He's saying that restricting, and this is, I mean, y'all let me know. Y'all let me know if I'm hearing this right. It's like he's saying that if you restrict drag shows in front of children, this could this could cause threats of future harm, which could equate in injury to who? To the drag performers? So if you say, okay, we're going to put a ban on kids being able to watch drag shows where men are walking around dressing up as women half naked, that's somehow going to cause harm and injury to the performers. How? If it's banned, then people are just like, well, hey, listen, just don't do it and you won't go to jail. You think that a ban is going to pass and then people are just going to rise up with pitchforks and tiki torches and go and just start ransacking gay clubs and gay bars and stuff like that? Come on, man. Let's be for real. And these are people that are in positions of power. This guy's a judge. And this is what he's saying. In a statement, Republican Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti said that Tennessee's Adult Entertainment Act has been, quote, consistently misrepresented since its adoption, end quote. Quote, as a state overflowing with world-class artists and musicians, Tennessee respects the right to freedom to free expression, Skrmetti said. Quote, but as the court noted, Tennessee's harmful to minors standard is constitutionally sound, and Tennessee can absolutely prohibit the exhibition of obscene material to children, end quote. So again, we're talking about kids, children. And you got people that's worried about the grown men that's putting on the shows. And Tennessee is just like, no, we just don't want children being exposed to that stuff. Y'all go do it elsewhere. If y'all want to do that in nightclubs, fine. If y'all want to do it in the privacy of your own home and parties, great. Just don't put it in vicinities where children may be present. Don't bring the children into the nightclubs. And some people, they have a problem with it. Some people have a problem with it. Skrmetti stated that the appeals court, quote, focused on what the law actually says and ordered the law reinstated, end quote. Friends of George's released a statement on Facebook to express its disappointment with the Sixth Circuit decision. Quote, instead of addressing the constitutionality of Tennessee's drag ban, today's ruling has left us and thousands of others in the LGBTQ plus community dangerously in limbo. Come on, man. Yo, you gotta
stop the cap.
With no clear answers as to how this ban will be enforced by whom, the group stated. The only thing that is clear about this law is that it's firmly rooted in hate and defies the will of the majority of Tennesseans.
Stop the cap.
We are consulting with our attorney on the next steps as we rehearse for our next theatrical production, slated to open on August 2nd. End quote. I mean, it's like, did they not? Did they not just hear what the court's ruling was? It just seems like that it just went over their head. And they say, oh, it's a drag ban. And that's the thing that you got to look out for as well, because people will paint certain things and misrepresent certain things and say, oh, it's Tennessee is banning drag shows. So therefore, people who don't really know what's going on is like, oh, wait, what? Huh? Tennessee is trying to ban drag shows. Well, I mean, I think that people should be able to do what they want. Yeah, so let's vote to stop Tennessee from banning us. But then when you really look into it, it's just like, no, it's not a ban on drag shows. It's a ban on people being able to indoctrinate kids with explicitly sexually charged performances. It's the same thing that happened in Florida. People are all up in arms about Ron DeSantis saying, oh, Ron DeSantis is snatching books out of schools. He don't want black history to be put in schools. And it's like, have you even read what the law was of what books were being removed? And like I explained on my channel, what Ron DeSantis was doing was that the LGBTQ movement were putting in sexually explicit material. It was so explicit that a parent, she went to one of the town hall meetings where they have all of the people from government sitting on a panel, and then you have people that's in the audience. They come up and they kind of get a few minutes to speak and air out their grievances. So there was a lady who came up and she says, "Listen, I got two of these books that is in schools right now," and she started reading from the books verbatim, and it made her stop. They cut the lady's mic off. Oh, no, we don't want to hear that. And she said, but you don't want to hear it now, but this is what's on the shelves in our kids' libraries. So she's just like, if you guys don't even want to hear it now, then why is it on the shelves of our kids' libraries? So then, therefore, the LGBTQ people, they linked up with some, I don't know, I was going to say pro-black, but these ain't really no pro-black people. These are people who have locked in with the people who are locked in with the LGBTQ community for whatever reason. And it's all, I just believe it's all an agenda. So what they wanted to do was put in a bunch of these books and say that, well, our LGBTQ stuff, alongside with some black history stuff, we want these books to be put into the libraries. And you have to accept both. If you don't accept both, well then now we can paint it as, oh, well, you don't want to, you don't want black history to be taught in schools. You see what I'm saying? You see the bait and switch and the craftiness. So they don't talk about the sexually explicit books that was taken off the shelves, that Ron DeSantis said, no, we're not having that. But they talk about the books that the LGBTQ used they use black people. And again, this happens a lot. They use black people as pawns to where they try to push a certain agenda, and then they try to string black people along. So when somebody says, well, hey, we're not going to accept the LGBTQ side, and then they turn around and everything gets rejected because they're trying to put the LGBTQ stuff at the forefront. They don't really care about black history and the plights of black people. They care about their movement. So when they try to latch black people onto it, and then when a person in government shoots it down, then they turn around and say, oh, well, they just don't want black people to know their history. Grace and peace, Jim Green. Grace and peace. Eugene says, it's an agenda, Alton. They in on it. Billionaires are funding the Democrat campaigners. I'm sorry, the Democrat campaigns. When Dems win, the billionaires want something in return. They want laws to change to their benefit. Yeah, it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. Brother Jim says the media is to blame for lying about the issues. Yeah, I think so. I believe so. Grace and peace, Elizabeth. I think you came in here early. No, I think that was somebody else. But grace and peace. All right, let's see if we can finish this up. Oh, actually, that was the end of that article. All right, Sheila, we only 35 minutes in. 35 minutes in. That's it. See, Sheila, you wasn't. See, now you can go to bed at a decent time. But yeah, man, it's like I told y'all, it is definitely an agenda going on out here, and your children are the target on all sides, not just sexual, not just when it comes to sexually explicit stuff, but I mean, for all types of indoctrination, to witchcraft, anti-Christian material, all types of things. You know, that there's such a target on your children's back. You know, and that's why, as Christians, whether you're grandparents, parents, great grandparents like Sheila, you know, you have to be you have to be on your guard. You have to be on guard for these kids nowadays, man. You really do, because I mean, you can see where judges are in office and they're fighting to have these things inside of your children's school, inside of your children's spaces. And they're not going to stop. That's why when people say, well, I don't really want to get too much. I don't want to really get too into politics too much. Kind of don't want to talk about that too much. I just kind of stay in my lane. Yeah, and as you stand in your lane, then you got other people just like, oh, I'm glad you stand in your lane, because now all I got to do is rally my folk together, and we going to go out and we going to vote opposite of you. I know that you say that you don't like all of this stuff. You don't like drag shows in your schools and drag time story hour, and you don't like all of the LGBTQ stuff. You know, people walking up and down your streets butt naked, money that you pay, your taxpayer money that's going up, you know, that's going towards the streets, that they walking up and down butt naked in front of kids. So yeah, you just keep staying in your lane, keep staying home, and I ain't gonna get into all of that. And they're just like, yeah, as long as you keep not getting into all of that, we're gonna find a whole bunch of people who is gonna get into all of that, and we're gonna coerce them to put their millions and their billions up to make sure that our agenda goes through. You know? So that's why I'm telling you guys, you know, some things you got to pay attention to. Now, how active and how, you know, how much you want to take action, that's totally up to you. But at the same time, just don't be unaware. Don't be naive about this stuff. What does Stevie says? He says, we're all alive because of God. Yeah, amen. Amen. We are all alive because of God. Grace and peace, rebuke and reprove. He says Trump is alive because of God. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, that's why Stevie said that. Yeah. Yeah. He says we're all alive because of God. And Sheila says, you know, I don't care. Now hold on, Sheila. Because I mean, we don't, and I'm serious about this. You know, I hope that Donald Trump does repent. And I'm thankful that he didn't get killed. But it's unfortunate that a couple of people did die from what happened, you know, at Donald Trump's assassination attempt. And I don't want to see anybody die. I don't want to see anybody killed. Now, I don't agree with everything that Trump says. I don't agree with everything that Joe Biden says. But at the same time, even when Joe Biden became president, I would never have wished that Joe Biden would have gotten killed, or Kamala Harris or anybody like that would have gotten killed, just because I disagree with them politically. Just like right now, I don't wish death upon people who are homosexuals, who are trying to push a lot of these agendas in front of our kids. You know, I don't agree with that. What I do want is that for all of us to repent of our sins and put our faith and trust in Jesus Christ. And this is where I challenge Christians to not be so carnal. Right? Oh, wait, hold on. What did Steve say? He says, she's responding to what I said about everybody picks on her. Oh, okay. All right. My bad, shit. There you go. Big Yehuda says, Trump's come a long way. There's very much a non-zero chance he's actually regenerate. A case can be made. I like him so much more now than before the assassination. Uh-oh, how many of y'all going? Sheila says there are 2 who are still in critical condition. I didn't even know that. I thought 2 people died and Trump was the only people that got shot. I didn't know that anyone else got shot. Wow. Yeah, but listen, man, y'all, I can't stress this enough. I can't stress this enough. listen, protect your kids, cover your kids, pray for your kids. I know it sounds cliche. It sounds, we hear that all the time, but I'm telling you, man, listen, prayer goes a long way. And not just prayer, but we have to be diligent in raising up the next generation. We have to. We have to. Government is not going to save us. I'm going to tell you like this, the Republicans ain't going to save us. And one of the things that I'm seeing from the Republican side is that they're basically the Democrats, maybe 10 to 15, maybe what the Democrats were 10 to 15 years ago. Because a lot of the stuff that they were against 10 to 15 years ago, they're for now. They're for LGBTQ and they're for, gay marriage, all of the stuff that they were saying that they were against 10 years ago, they're now for that. Eugene say, not true, man. All right. That's what you think. You think, okay, well, Eugene, I want to ask you this. Who is Miss MAGA? All right. Who's Miss MAGA? Who's Miss MAGA? That's what I want to know. You tell me that the Republican Party ain't shifted on a lot of stuff and they're not the Democratic Party 10 to 15 years ago. When it comes to marriage, they were solid. Oh, it was between man and a woman, period. Oh, you want to see who Miss MAGA is? How many of y'all want to see who Miss MAGA is? How many of y'all want to see Miss MAGA? Let's go ahead and do ourselves a favor. Let's look at Miss MAGA. All right, let me see. I think it's... let's see who Miss MAGA. No, Lady MAGA. I'm sorry, it's not Miss MAGA, it's Lady. Lady MAGA. Lady MAGA. We gonna see who Lady MAGA is. All right. Lady MAGA is a character created by Ryan Woods, a political activist, social media influencer, and drag artist who supported Donald Trump during the 2020 United States presidential election. Woods is a resident of Salt Lake City, Utah. Ryan Woods was raised in Salt Lake City, Utah as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. A Mormon. By the late 2010s, Ryan Woods had established a reputation of a small community of drag queens in Salt Lake City, Utah for his characterizations of Disney princesses. Woods, who is gay, said that he felt ostracized when he decided to vocalize his support for Donald Trump to friends within the LGBTQI community in the mid-2010s. Don't tell me that the Republican Party is not going down the way of the Democrats. Okay, now this is a grown man with a Trump flag in the back. All right. So trust me, a lot of the politics of the Republican Party is looking like the Democratic Party 10 years ago. So that's why choose ye now this day. That's why I tell people, hey man, be careful about these politics. Be careful about latching yourself onto a certain political party. Because the LGBTQ movement is heavy in the Republican Party, and do not be fooled. Don't be fooled that the LGBTQ movement and a lot of the stuff that we talking about now is not heavy in the Republican Party. All right, I just want to let y'all know. So be careful with that. All right, but listen, man, thank you guys for showing up. Actually, before we get ready to get up out of here, let's go ahead and check back with this live poll. Let's see what y'all done said so far. First off, I'm asking, should drag shows for children be banned? So far, 97% of you guys says, yes, it should only be for adults. No one says it's just harmless fun. No one says maybe some, not all. And 3% of you say, I don't know enough about them. All right, y'all know before we get ready to get up out of here, y'all go ahead, hit that like button, hit that notifications bell, so whenever I get ready to go live, you guys will be the first ones to be here as soon as I go live. And and speaking of kids, that is my daughter. All right, that is my daughter. Everybody say hello to my 12-year-old daughter, Sanai Johnson. Now, I don't know, it's been a family affair today. You know, first my wife hops on Berean TV. Now my daughter, she's watching she's watching my channel right now. She's watching my live. Listen, Johnsons are taking over. 2024, we taking over. By the end of the year, we gonna be out here. We're gonna be out here. All right, but listen, man, let me get ready to get up out of here. I will see you guys next time. Lord willing, peace.